Hey everybody, this is Jason from the NCDP, and today in this screencast we're going to go over how to negotiate your subsite on the National Center for Due Process website. This will be a cursory rundown. We can get into more detail in different screencasts, but today I'm going to use the Peter Wlaziak blog as an example. Okay, now when you scroll down, our menu appears, and you'll see Peter Wlaziak's blog right here. There's nothing on the blog, and we have to change that. Okay, this right here is called the landing page. Okay, you can call it a home page too, but it's called the landing page. This is your home page. Now these here are either pages or posts. We can add pages, we can add posts, but these two menu items right here are the ones we're going to be focused on, because that's what I mean. These are basically NCDP corporate type of menu items, but these two we have complete control over. Okay, so now I have a test account here that I use. As you know, my name is Jason Weber, but here I'm going to go by Jim in Mish. It's my test account. And the first thing you have to do always is log in, which is simple. You just go to the National Center for Due Process website, you log in. Simple. Okay? So we're going to log in. Once we're logged in, that gives us the credentials to actually administrate our subsite. So you're going to be logged in, you're taken to your profile. Now what you want to do from here is navigate to your particular blog. You can type it in the address bar if you want. If you know what your address is, if it's on the menu, you can simply just go right to your page. Now once you get to your blog, at the very bottom here, you will see a link that says administrative login. Now the page we are going to right now is called the WordPress Administrative Dashboard, or just Dashboard for short, or WP Admin. Okay, so we're inside the Peter Wlaziak dashboard, or administrative dashboard. You'll see here it says NCDP Administration. Welcome to your particular subsite. And just a little reminder here. And here's the menu you're going to see. Now the three things we're going to really have to focus on are posts, pages, and eventually appearances widgets. Okay? Now again, going back to Peter's blog, our landing page, okay, this is not really a page and it's not really a post. WordPress has posts and they have pages. For our purposes, we're going to use pages for things that are more permanent. Okay, so we have an About Peter page. Who is Peter Wlaziak? Describe his age, describe his where he grew up, what he did for a living, and as part of your campaign, it's highly recommended that you humanize the inmate, because I've probably told this to each one of you individually. The state looks at the person you're advocating for as a number, and the people around, the county where he caught his case, look at him as a brutal murderer, a cold-blooded killer. So you should always have an about your client page, in this case About Peter page. So if we look at our pages, these are the more permanent things. Okay, we don't have an About Peter page. Okay, Peter's story. There is no Peter's story yet. There is no link. So let's just add a page, and we'll call it About Pete. So we're going to click Add New, and the first thing we're going to do is type in our title, and we want the person we're advocating for, we want their name in that title. What we don't want is a title that is way too long. That's bad for internet marketing purposes. Short and sweet. About Peter Walaziuk. There's two keywords, Peter and Walaziuk. Okay. Okay, so we're just going to throw some text in here. This is not the text I plan on using. I just copied and pasted some text from the website the primary two advocates made for Peter. In fact, the two who will be administrating this website. So I just threw some dummy text in there. Again, I would like a page about Peter Walaziuk strictly dedicated to humanizing him. He's a family man. He worked as a welder. He worked, he was happily married, and so on and so on. Especially if your case was highlighted in the media, you definitely want to combat the media's narrative and alter the court of public opinion's perception of that person. So this is not about Peter Walaziuk, but let's just say this is all the text we have about Peter Walaziuk. Then we add that in. And then we can start doing some neat things here. Peter's early years. We'll capitalize it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this, and this is where a lot of things happen when you get to know how to use this. We're going to highlight it, click Insert Shortcode. Okay. And most of these ones near the bottom you're not going to use. It's most of these ones near the top. In this case, heading. Now it's going to give us a list of options. Default. You can test all these options. All you got to do is try one out and go to your page and see how it looks. I like these flat ones. I think they're kind of like the cool modern ones, even though these say modern. But currently Peter's page is blue. So let's go with a flat blue. How about that? Oops, not a dotted line blue, a flat blue. Okay, this doesn't really matter. We'll set it to 20 and we're going to line it left. And we're going to insert the shortcode. So there we have Peter's early years. Okay. Now let's say we have Peter graduates from college as our next block of text. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to add a header in, and it's going to default to what we just put. That's 20 left aligned, and we're going to insert the header. Now let's say we want to make cool bullet points. Now we've all seen bullet points that look like this. Okay, we've all seen that. But we're going to do something a little bit better, okay? We're going to take an empty area of space, and we're going to insert a shortcode, and we're going to insert a list. Okay, you'll see the number 1, 2, 3. We're going to insert a list. Okay, now there's an icon picker. Pick whatever icon you'd like. Change it up. Something that'll grab attention. Let's put a finger pointing to the right. Okay. Now, what color do we want this to be? Let's make it purple-ish. Okay, we can play around with that. Now, we're just going to say Peter graduated from SUNY Binghamton in 1984. He majored in economics. Member of Delta Upsilon, I don't know if I spelled that right, fraternity. Humanize him. Graduated summa cum laude. Not sure if that spelled it right. Okay, so we have a list, and we're going to see the effect of this list shortly. The next thing we want to do, after our text is all filled out how we want it, we got our couple headers, we got a list, we got some cool things. We always want to set a featured image. Very important. So, we're going to we're going to do just that. Now let's say we choose this image. We can upload an image from our own computer. I'm going to use one that's already here. Now we see how this is titled 1560575, etc. I would like these to be more accurate. Peter Wlaziak is fine. And one thing we always want to do, let's fill out a caption and let's fill out an alt text. Very important to fill out this alt text. Now technically what that's for is for people who have images disabled on their computer. We know that's a very small minority, but nevertheless search engines take it very seriously. If you're missing alt text, they're going to penalize you. So we're going to set that as our featured image. And we'll see how that comes out later. And this is the last section we have to pay attention to, where it says WordPress SEO by Yoast. Our focus keyword's pretty obvious. We're going to use Peter Wlaziak. And then comes our meta description. We would like Peter Wlaziak to be near the beginning of this meta description, and we're allowed up to 160 characters. And I'm going to show you what this is going to result in. Okay, so if we do a Google search for Peter Wlaziak, see this? This is the meta description. It's also known as, it's more modernly known as what's called a rich snippet. Okay, you can see these rich snippets were not done very well. Okay, to assure that's done very well, Peter Wlaziak is a family man from central New York who cared deeply about his wife and children. Peter, charged with murder, was wrongly charged with murder, wrongly convicted of murder, and sits in prison. And look at that, we got it perfectly. So that's a good rich snippet, or meta description, if we will. And from there, we're done. That's all we got to do, okay? Pretty simple, isn't it? So again, we have our text, we threw some shortcode in there, and then we filled out this stuff under WordPress SEO by Yoast. Prior to publishing it, you can actually preview your page. Now, a WordPress preview is not always exactly how it's going to really look. To do that, you got to publish it, but it'll give you a rough idea. So see, our featured image showed up here. Here's our heading. Okay, there's another heading we use. Remember the list we made with the, and so on and so on. Now, what we can also do is, let's put an image in here before we publish this. Now, I'm going to go to the website that Peter's Advocates made for him. Okay, let's use this image. Just save the image to your computer. Name it appropriately, okay? So we're going to call it Peter Wlaziak, younger years. It's always really important to name these things appropriately. Okay, so now we're going to add an image in. How do you do that? It's simple. Let's get rid of this space here. But underneath a heading, let's say, for instance, we'll put our cursor there, and we're going to click Add Media. Okay, since I don't have this picture uploaded to my media library, we're going to upload files. Select a file from your computer. And here's the one we just uploaded. Okay, so there it is. Now we want to, again, name these images appropriately. Peter Wlaziak wedding. Okay, and we're just going to take that, copy it. We're going to put it in the caption and our alt text again. And we're going to align this to the right of the page. Always link it to the media file. That stays as is. Or if it's somewhere different, it should link to the media file. And always use medium. You never use full-size images, okay? That'll come into play if people are using a mobile device or looking at it at a different resolution. Always choose medium. So we're going to align it right. Now, as you can see, Peter's image is here, and it comes up in a box like that. We can go ahead and publish the page. Looks pretty much just like the preview. So now we can have a lot more things in this page. This is just an example. However, now Peter's story, we want to add that to the menu. So we're going to take this page right here we just created, Peter Wlaziak. We're going to go to Appearances. Remember, the three things we're working with are Posts, Pages, and Appearances widgets, but then Appearances menus. Now, you don't have to worry about this. I mean, if you have an issue with this, I can help you. But you'll see we just created a page called About Peter Wlaziak. We're going to just simply tick that page and click Add to Menu. Very simple. Now we're going to go to the bottom where it adds it to the very bottom, and we're going to just drag it all the way to the top where it says Peter's Story. So now we're just going to delete Peter's Story because we already have one now. And instead of About Peter Wlaziak, we're going to say Peter's Story, like we did before. Okay. Now, that's great, but you see these little icons right here? Kind of adds a little flavor. We're going to add a little icon. We're just going to click this Show Icon button. And we're just going to choose an icon. There are thousands. Don't worry about it, as long as it's something, you know. Here, we'll put an asterisk for simplicity's sakes. Okay. And we're going to save the menu. Let's go back to Peter's homepage. What we had, his landing page, what we had is Peter's story that links to nothing. Now we're going to refresh it. And now we have Peter's story, and it'll link right to Peter's page about Peter Wlaziak. So that's how we do pages. Now what about the blog? These are what posts are for. Posts are articles. Maybe you'll wake up in the morning with an idea. Hey, I want to write about this. Hey, I want to write about that. What you do is you create a post. Again, pages for our purposes are mostly for permanent things about Peter, things that are never going to. Posts are just like individual blogs. So we're going to see all posts, but we're going to add a new post. We want our keywords near the beginning of the title. So we're going to call it Peter Wlaziak, the prosecution. And we're going to do the same thing. We can add headers in. So let's go ahead, just like we did a page. This is a post. We're going to add a header. Okay. We're gonna stick with our theme here of flat blue. Keep things relatively consistent on this subsite. You know, maybe we want to add a picture, except we'll add it to the left this time. So when your media library loads, we'll just add the same picture, except this time we're going to align it to the left. And we have our title, our caption, our description, etc. So we'll align this one to the left. Just like the page, we always want to set our featured image, very important. We'll set the same featured image, although obviously this is going to vary. And we're going to want to go down to the same things where it says WordPress SEO by Yoast. We'll type in the same keyword, same focus keyword, and we'll say Peter Wlaziak. Peter Wlaziak's case was outlined by the prosecution in a very unconvincing manner. The prosecution used sneaky tactics and withheld exonerating evidence. Okay, so there's a good meta description or rich snippet, and let's go ahead and we don't want it to be uncategorized. We always got to have a category for posts. So we're gonna put the prosecution's case, and we're gonna add that as a category. Let's add a tag, and our tag will be Peter Wlaziuk. You can never have enough keywords like that in. Okay, now we published that, so now we're going to see a new entry under Peter's blog. See, we're going to see the post we just created. Peter Wlaziuk, the prosecution. So posts end up here. Pages we have to physically manually add to the menu. The post will just naturally be pulled by this blog. So if we click the blog we just made, say last updated by Jim and Mish, we'll see the blog we just posted. Now, so that's how we handle these pages and the posts. But how do we handle the home page? Or, as I would say, the landing page. How do we get rid of all this and change it? This is controlled by appearances widgets. This is called a widgetized homepage. It's fully widgetized. It's controlled by widgets. It's not controlled by pages or posts. Specifically, it's controlled by home section 1, 2, all the way to 7. Okay, all your content will be in home pages 1 through 7. Okay, the ones with these scrolling background images, those are the odd numbers. So this is home section 1, and these ones are home sections 2. So the even numbers, home section 3, home section 4, 5, 6, etc., etc. So let's take home section 1. Okay, this is the first section. You want to populate this with content. So we're going to go to home section 1, and you'll see that's exactly what it says. So we're going to take this Latin text here. It's called dummy text. We're just going to delete it. And we're going to say demanding justice for Peter. And instead of this text, we're going to say Peter was wrongly convicted of murder in the state of New York and today remains in prison. He's in Attica prison, but he remains in prison while being stonewalled by the higher courts who refuse to acknowledge that the misconduct by the prosecution rises to the level of reversal. And we're going to save that. Now what happens after we save that home widget 1, if we refresh, we'll see, as we can see, the dummy text is gone, demanding justice for Peter Wlaziuk. In section 3, let's say there's nothing there right now, but let's just say Peter was a loving family man. He did not, he was not involved in any manner in the death of his wife. He loved his wife, but the prosecution was hell bent on sending Peter to prison, whether they had the evidence to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt or not. Okay, we're going to throw a link in here, and we're going to go to the About Peter page. Remember that page we just made? About Peter. We're just going to call it About Peter. We can throw a couple little arrows if you want to be cool and that kind of stuff about Peter. If all these options don't show up, click this little thing right here, toolbar toggle, and all the options will show up. You can change the color of your text, just like Microsoft Word. But we're going to change this into a link. Okay, use that link to Peter's page, and we're going to, for the title, we're going to put About Peter. Okay, and we're not going to open it in a new tab. Or if you want to click this little bottom right here, see link to existing content, it's often the recommended way to do it. We'll see the About Peter Wlaziak page we just published. Just click it and add link, and it fills in all this stuff for you. Now, I'll show you a little trick here, and then we'll end the screencast. So what we did is we changed Home Section 3. That is this part right here. You'll notice something though, and this might get a little tricky, but I promise you this will be second nature in no time. Okay, so we see here it just says About Peter. You can hardly read it because it's up against a dark background. So let me show you what we're going to do about this. We have our Home Widget 3 opened, okay, and we see the link. I mean, it's impossible not to see it. The link is right here. Now there are two tabs, a visual editor and a text editor. We're going to click on the text editor. Okay. Now you'll see here this is clearly the link. A title equals About Peter. Href equal into the link. And we're just going to throw a little snippet in here. We're going to throw class equals quotation mark button unquotation mark space. So that's all we did is add class equals button. And let's see the difference that makes. Okay, as you see now, instead of showing up as a relatively non-readable link, now it shows up as a nice little button. And you just click the button and it takes you to where you directed it to take you, right to Peter's page. So now you can see we'll click this to go back to the home page, this logo, to the landing page. So now you can see it's really not difficult to populate this landing page with content. And it's all done through three things: posts, pages, and the widgets and the appearances. Now from here we'll just have to populate home section 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and we'll have ourselves a good landing page. Then we can start writing articles under permanent ones under pages and blog posts under posts. Okay, that's all for this screencast. And ask any questions in the Facebook group, and if you're not part of the Facebook group, shoot me an email anytime.